Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Witch of Bees and Bones. I know it's been a minute, and I appreciate your patience. Things have just been hectic. I'm not even going to make excuses. Life gets busy, and I got to do what I got to do, and the shop has been super busy because it's that time of year, and I've also been busy on my time off, taking care of gardens and such. Some trees fell over the winter, two of which fell through the middle of my poison garden, so I'm still assessing the damage there and what is coming back and what isn't coming back, and I've got to get the trees cut. So that's kind of a situation, but again, it'll all be figured out, and I'll, over time, replace anything that may not come back, but it's still early in the season. Even though it's like in the 90s today, it's still early in this season to see what's coming up. So I'm going to give it some time. Today's video is about Pride. It's Pride, y'all. It's June 1st. And being a person who identifies as both a witch and a queer witch and a queer person, I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how that looks for me in my life. And I've been having some conversations with both some queer identifying people and straight identifying people with some interesting ideas and observances. And I like looking at things from different perspectives. And so I thought I would sit down and talk about what queer means to me. I first want to say I think labels can be really helpful if they help someone identify as something. But as with gender and sexuality, things can be very fluid. And so I think that labels can be limiting. And I think that if people are kind of exploring where they're at and they land on a label, if that evolves or changes, then they feel badly. And I feel like if a label helps, then great. And if it doesn't, then discard it. For me, I really like being a witch. I really like using that word. I also really like using the term queer. And the reason I do that is for the same reason that I use witch as an identifier. For me, both of those words have had negative connotations and have been seen in a very unflattering light. And by my taking ownness over those words for myself, I take the sting out of them and I take the power back. So I am pansexual, which for me personally means that I can be attracted and in love with, in a relationship with, be intimate with anybody of any gender, period. I've never cared what is in or what is not in someone else's pants. That's kind of the last thing I think about. And I'm a sexual person, and so sex and intimacy matters to me, so I don't want to pretend that isn't the case for me. But I don't. That's not my jumping off point. I'm attracted to people for their brains and their hearts, and gender has never mattered to me. I've been in relationships with all sorts of different people. I've had some. I used to identify as bi before I knew the word pan, and before I had been educated enough and experienced enough to realize that there was more than two genders. And I know that there are a lot of folks that recognize more than two genders that still use the word bi, because bi means other. So people can identify however they wish. I choose pansexual or queer. And when I've been in relationships with women, people assume that I'm lesbian. And when I'm in a relationship with a man, people assume that I'm straight. And when people find out that, and not all people, I'm generalizing, but I've had enough issues that this is has some history to it. And so people make lots of assumptions about me. I've had people assume, and I use the word assume on purpose, that if I'm in a relationship with a man and I'm pansexual, then I'm more likely to cheat on them with a woman. I don't understand, but again, these are just things that people have shared with me. And I've also been told numerous times to pick a side. So there's a lot of pan/bi erasure, even within the queer community. I've been told by other queer folks that, you know, like, you're lesbian or you're straight, and like, pick a side. There's not a side to pick for me. This isn't like, oh, you know, like column A and column B. Like, there's too many columns to pick. Like, why I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to, period. And it kind of hurts my heart when people from the and I've heard the term alphabet mafia, when they kind of berate their own, so to speak. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, let each person consensually do as they wish. I don't understand. But so that is a long story short, because I got off on a tangent. Surprise, surprise. So that is how I happen to identify. And it's Pride Month, so that means that every company, every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a Pride flag out and is selling merch. And I have a couple thoughts about that. I first want to say that when I buy Pride merch or queer merch or anything of that ilk, I will go with a queer-owned company. I would rather support the people in the community that are making whatever the product is, if it's a t-shirt or a tank top or a flag or whatever. And I don't love the fact that a lot of companies are cashing in on Pride when they don't seem to give a fuck the rest of the year. What I will say, and I read this piece a number of years ago, and I wish I could remember where I read it because I would link it, but I truly do not. But it was written by a queer journalist, and they were examining the, like Target and the other companies that carry Pride merch. And even though that money isn't going to queer people, they posed it as if they had walked into a Target when they were 10 years old and they saw Pride merchandise and they saw something celebrating queer people, that would have made them think about killing themselves less. And that really, really struck me. So is it ideal that, everybody has jumped on the merch train for Pride? No. But if there's some kid living in who the fuck knows where, in the middle of nowhere, may not have a supportive family, may be told any number of things, and if they can walk into a store and anything about Pride merch can make them feel better about themselves, or that they're seen, or something they can identify with that will make them want to harm themselves less, or make them not want to harm themselves at all, or make them feel seen, I'm going to err on the side of that. I know that commerce is real. I know that commercialism is real. I know it is. And I'm not saying that it's all good. But when it was posed that way, because especially kids and queer kids and kids that are trying to figure themselves out and trans kids, and they may not have a lot of support where they are growing up. Not everybody grows up in a super, yes, hi honey. Elijah says hello. Not everybody grows up in, excuse me, a super supportive either community or family. And I want everyone, but I really want kids to not even consider harming themselves or not surviving because they're gay. It breaks my heart that that is a thought for people. I get it. I understand it. It makes all the sense in the world to me, because a lot of people, and I don't have an issue with Jesus or Christianity. I've got a problem with some of the followers. And if you're telling your kid that they're going to burn in hell and that they're defective or a deviant or evil or any of that other bullshit, like, don't be a parent. If you're worried about having a queer kid, don't have a kid. Excuse me, allergies are real, y'all. I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a little coughing jag. When people find out that they're pregnant and they say, "Oh, do you want a boy or a girl?" Again, there's more than two genders, but nobody gives a shit what gender their baby's going to be. So why do you care after the baby is born if they're trans? Like, why does gender matter to someone as a parent? And I'm not a parent. By design and by choice. But I don't understand being hateful and making your kid want to hurt themselves. So if a pride shirt at Target can help some kid in the middle of, I don't know, Nebraska, then so be it. Again, as an adult and a consumer, I can choose to buy from queer-owned companies. I can choose to support the companies because I have the money and the ability to do so, and I can do the research and I can see what is what. But at a very basic entry-level point of a 10-year-old queer kid walking into a Target and being able to see something that makes them feel better about themselves, I'm all in. Again, is it the best thing? No, but for that kid, if it saves that kid's life, I'm all for it. And I know that that's a hotly debated topic, and I get it, and people get to have their opinions. This is mine. We're having some real issues in this country, and I've worked with folks with HIV and AIDS, and I've seen the stigma with that. I've done some counseling with some queer folks, other queer folks as well, and the fact that unaliving someone, oneself, occurs to a 6, 7, 8-year-old kid is staggering to me. So the world has to do better. It's that simple. And I know that the people that I'm pissed off at, that I think are shitty parents and are unsupportive parents, aren't listening to my videos. And if they did, wouldn't give a fuck anyway. I'm a queer witch. Like, I'm burning in hell as far as they're concerned anyway. I'm fine with that because I don't want to be where they are. Again, tangent. So what pride means to me is pride in who we are as humans. Pride in who we are as witches, pride in who we are as whatever gender we are, whatever sexuality we are, whoever we love, and pride. And I don't mean the negative ego-driven pride, but the, like, I've worked my ass off to be the person I am, and I'm proud of that. And I posted something on social media, and I know that a lot of you have seen it, and so I apologize for those of you that have, but I just wanted to mention it. I post it every year, and it's this little graphic, and it says, "Queer people in, quote, straight relationships are still queer. Let's stop policing how people identify. Let's be the best version of ourselves that we can be." And I don't just mean that for gay people or queer people or pan people or trans people or LGBTQIA people. I mean everybody. Let's be the best versions of ourselves for ourselves and for other people. We don't know what other people are going through. So, again, grace. I I believe very strongly in do no harm but take no shit. And I would just offer that I would like people to kind of think about whatever difficulty you've had. And I don't know if that's your sexuality or your gender or any other experience that has been or could be traumatic, and see where you grew from that and give yourself the grace that you learned from that experience. And now you're a better version of yourself, working to be the best version of yourself. And to me, that's what pride means. When we work hard for something, we get to be proud of ourselves for accomplishing something. And if that means that you took a shower today, great. If that means you ran a marathon, great. Whatever your version of working towards bettering yourself and being the best version of yourself and the best, most compassionate version of yourself, that's all I'm asking. And that's what I hold myself to as well. I'm really hard on myself. And I have had a loved one say to me, I really wish that you would be nicer to Victoria because I really love her. And I would like all of you to be nicer to yourselves. And I think, yep, I'm getting emotional again, guys. Damn it. No, not damn it. It is what it is. I think that when we have grace with ourselves, it allows us to have grace with others. So I would love for you to celebrate the queer folks in your life, not just during Pride, but all the time. I would love for you to celebrate yourself. We've all been through it, whatever it is for any of you. And I'm blown away by how incredible all of you are and how kind all of you are. And I appreciate you all. So have grace with yourself, have grace with others. Happy Pride. My next video will be my Q&A. I've accumulated some of those and I was going to do them today. And then I wanted to do a Pride, excuse me. I wanted to do a Pride video, so here it is. So I adore you all. As you know, I respond to all comments, so feel free to leave them. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you agree or disagree, just be polite. You don't have to agree with me. That's okay. Just don't be a dick. If you're going to be a dick, then go do it somewhere else and just don't. But I will be back with you very soon. Happy Pride, happy June, happy almost summer. Take care, guys. Bye.